I believe that people coming together to volunteer for Easter Seals and to support Easter Seals is the lifeblood of the organization. It's another statement that people believe that people with disabilities can accomplish things on their own.
Each day is another chance for a quality of life advance. Find the music to make you dance, no matter the circumstance. With unique obstacles to bear, life can sometimes seem unfair. Easter Seals is always there, symbolizing the ability to care. Facing challenges and fears for over 85 years, knowing that the gray cloud clears only when the barrier disappears. If he was living today, I believe the founder would say, we must keep trying to find a way to help everyone live, learn, work, and play. Together, we can all make a difference.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, when they put the video together, they managed to get two, not one, but two pictures of the bald spot on the top of my head. So somebody's getting fired. I've got to thank you for this honor, and it truly is an honor to be included with so many Meadows Award winners here tonight. And Meadows Award winners that aren't here, and I particularly want to thank one who is not with us anymore, and that's Dick Lapierre, who was my predecessor at Easter Seals, Massachusetts, and my mentor. Dick hired me 35 years ago. I got to think it was against his better judgment. We're complete opposites in personality, and the deal was I was going to stay for a year. He hired me to be an advocate, and I had 3 years' experience being an advocate, and he didn't think that was that much. And he thought I was too young, and my hair was too long, and my beard was too scruffy. But he hired me anyway. But the deal was for a year, and he kept finding ways to keep me interested. And I can't say it better than Angela said it in the video, that Easter Seals gave me the opportunity to help people. And that's exactly what Easter Seals did. Now, Angela, I can go you one better, I think. I don't know. But I met my spouse at Easter Seals. Sheila was running the swim and recreation programs and day camping, and I was an advocate, and a good advocate for myself. And we got married a couple years after we met, and maybe not even a couple. We were the subject of about 5 months' worth of Easter Seal office gossip. So, you know, I just thank God they didn't have Facebook back then. No. As some of you may know, Sheila and I had a child with a disability that we lost. Matthew died about 3.5 years old, but we found him when we were just married 6 months. I was reading the Sunday paper, and there was a story about a child with spina bifida and developmental delays who was up for adoption. And I read it, and something in that story touched me. And it was a Sunday paper, so Sheila was just coming home from church, and we still have the same routine. I read the Sunday paper, and she comes home from church. And I gave her the article to read, and something in it touched her as well. And we looked at each other, and we just said yes. And we didn't discuss it, and we hadn't been thinking about adopting. But it was something that was meant to be, and I'm not sure either one of us could explain to you today what we did. 4 months later, Matthew was with us. He had a brother and sister and parents. And when we first got a chance to meet him, we called the foster home. And being good Easter Seals people, we wanted to know that he was getting therapy. We wanted to know that the first 5 were going to count for him, that those important services in the first year of life, he was less than a year old, are important. So we want to know about OT, PT, and speech. And the foster mother tells us on the phone, back then we had extensions with cords, and it was 1979. She said, oh yes, it was a specialized foster home for multiply handicapped infants. And she said, oh yes, I have Easter Seals therapists in here 3 times a week. So we couldn't have felt better and more proud. And we truly understand the value of early intervention, what we've been talking about here for the last several days. Some of the cutest pictures we have of Matthew when he's wearing his cap and gown graduating from early intervention. They rival the Halloween pictures, which he shared a love of with his mother, who dressed him as a wheelchair ghost and the Incredible Hulk one year. I'd like to say that Easter Seals has been an important part of my life, but it has been my life. Sheila and I have had this commitment before Matthew, but after Matthew, I think our family, and not just Sheila and I, but Matthew's siblings, we've spent a lot of time investing in Easter Seals and other organizations that support equal opportunities for people with disabilities, because we've been trying to build the kind of world we would have wanted Matthew to grow up in. And Easter Seals does that. I've been an advocate for nearly 40 years, so I've got to thank all of you for coming out here to Washington to advocate for services for people with disabilities. You're going to utter those 2 deadly words on Capitol Hill: increased funding. Say it with me: increased funding. At Easter Seals, Massachusetts, I am very lucky to have a strong board, a great staff. You meet our star, Colleen Flanagan, but she represents a lot of stars back at the ranch who do incredible work every day, much like I know Easter Seals' 23,000 staff members around the country do. We have had a commitment for a lot of years to hire people with disabilities, include people with disabilities in decision-making. And about 5, 6, 7 years ago, we decided that we're asking everybody else to hire people with disabilities. How well are we doing? So we decided to measure it, and Sonny Cody is a great measurer. And when we measured it, we said, wow, we're doing okay, but we're not doing as well as we want to. So we're really striving to be a model employer. And as much as I've learned from Easter Seal services, being part of direct service, being part of advocacy, having a child with a disability, having people with disabilities as your colleagues, working for you, working with you, sometimes being your boss, gives you a whole different perspective on disability. And you start thinking about, we often talk at Easter Seals, and I do it all the time, telling stories about how people have succeeded in spite of their disabilities. And what I also understand is that sometimes people can succeed because of their disabilities. The disability is just a part of the person. And so it sometimes informs that person, gives that person a different point of view, a different outlook, a different value. And I've learned a whole lot from being colleagues with people with disabilities. As we look at ourselves, if Jim Williams, I miss Jim Williams' voice, and Don, you have done a fabulous job, and I would not want to be the person to replace Jim Williams any place. But I miss, Jim is just in love with the future and new innovations, and he always motivates me. And I know that in a couple of years, he's already thinking about Easter Seals' 100th anniversary. You know he is, it's 2019. And so I'm going to kind of jump the gun and say, let's think about what we want to look like at 100 years old. I know what I don't want to look like. I don't want to look 100 years old. I want to be relevant. I want to be with it, as my wife would say, for the first time in your life. Be relevant and with it. But let's try and see, Colleen was up here last year talking about the opportunity to engage young people with disabilities to be part of Easter Seals. She feels that young people are looking for an organization like Easter Seals that is cross-disability, that is all ages, that advocates and that provides exceptional services. If we're going to attract that generation of kids who are in high school now, kids who are in college, on our 100th anniversary, they're going to be in their 20s and 30s. And to attract them, we've got to be an organization that looks like them, that has people that look like them. And I hope that that can be part of our vision for 2019. I'm going to close with something very tricky. and I don't want anyone to laugh. My youngest son says he's gone into the family business. Our family has been engaged with deaf and deafblind services in the last few years, and he is studying to be a sign language interpreter. And this June, I got to perform the wedding ceremony between he and his new bride, and she is a young woman who is deaf. And so if I could have some help from the interpreter, do you mind? These interpreters have been great, both these guys. Give them a round of applause. Okay.
My wife,
My wife.
my wife is probably going to kill me for this. However, I need the practice anyway, so I'm very proud to be part of this wonderful organization, this team, and this family. Thank you for all that you guys do. Thank you and good night.